What story are we ready to let go of?
We are really in transformative energies right now. Almost like we're in between dimensions where it's like we're kind of in one foot and in one dimension and another, and we're trying to find our balance. It feels like water. And learning to sit in the discomfort, I think, is the hardest part. We're in a deep lunar eclipse that's coming up on Sunday. So we are really in transformative energies right now. Like this is a deep time of like really deep, like unresolved aspects that are like resurfacing, like old patterns, old habits, and pretty much unprocessed material.
I invite you to open your heart and join Lonna and I as we explore how to get through the messiness, embrace this eclipse, and how to use it as a guide. Hello, Lonna.
Hello, how are you?
I'm brilliant. How are you?
I'm doing really well, actually, surprisingly, for the dark shadow time we're in. I'm actually doing really well. It's weird. I was just saying to one of my friends this morning, I'm like, weirdly enough, like in shadow times, I seem to be the most comfortable. And when everything else is falling apart around with everybody, I don't know why. I seem to mellow out. Maybe it's because I'm holding space for others. I don't know, but it seemed like last week I was not in a great place, and there was no really reason for it. I was waking up each day with like a lot of headaches, and I was like, okay, well, maybe today's going to be better, but I was just in a funk for about 5 or 6 days, and I just couldn't, like, I wasn't even trying to get out of it. I think I was just kind of like, what's going on here? But I'm like, well, maybe tomorrow will be better, and I'm still doing my practices. Didn't throw me off that much, but I was just edgy. I wasn't overly like fun to be around, I guess. Like it just irritable, and just nothing. I couldn't pinpoint it, to be honest. But it seems to have dissipated the last few days. And as we're getting closer to the eclipse on Sunday, I'm feeling better and better, to be honest. How are you feeling?
I really like that you are sitting with it. It's like little piggies sitting in their shit. And just allowing it to be, because when we really kind of sit in that horrible uncomfortableness, it just dissipates.
I agree. And I feel like also too, I feel like a lot of people around me are struggling. So I feel like I kind of went through, and this is weird. This weirdly happened too with COVID. Like I got really, really sick in like November of 2020. Like really sick for a good 10 days, like lost like 10 pounds, couldn't eat anything, like, and then COVID came, a month later, and I never got it, never got sick. And I feel like I kind of went through the energetic of that and physicality of that. But I feel like before there's major events happening, I kind of go into it early. And I've seen that kind of with a few other things. And I don't know, I just feel like maybe I was just purging a lot last week and sitting with that, because it seems to be as I'm getting closer to the eclipse, like I feel good. But I'm a shadow worker, so I lean into the discomfort and I look at it like a lesson and a teaching here. Like, what is this? What can I learn from this? And I look at like an opportunity, which I think is a big game changer.
Hence being a shadow guide, you're the queen of the shadow.
Yeah, and the dragons have been super present recently and of late, because they're the masters of transmutation. So I've been really, really connecting to that part of myself and just like burning stuff away, like without even really needing to know what it is. It's just kind of like, okay, that's what it is. And I think this is kind of what we were talking about last podcast, where it's just like we don't always have to know what it is that we're moving through. We're just sometimes, it's good to witness it and honor that and let it go. But sometimes it's just a matter of like, I can't pinpoint why I feel this way. So I'm just going to lean in and just sit with that. And learning to sit in the discomfort, I think, is the hardest part. But when you can do that, it's like I feel like it's not like such like highs and lows. It's just kind of like you can ride the waves a little bit more.
Yeah, and sometimes energy
doesn't have words. It's just flowing through us, passing through us, and it's really uncomfortable. It actually made me feel a bit nauseous over the last few weeks. I've been all of a sudden I just feel a bit woo. I'm like, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster.
I feel that too. Like, and I like very minor vertigo. I haven't
Hmm.
had any nausea, but I've talked to other couple of my, spiritually oriented, growth oriented friends, and it's like kind of feeling the same thing. It's kind of like this in between watery feeling. Like I'll bend over and pick something up, and I'll stand up and I'll be like, woo, just very minorly. But it's almost like we're in between dimensions where it's like we're kind of in one foot and in one dimension and another, and we're trying to find our balance. It feels like water. Like we're
Yeah.
in this kind of like, it's not quite air. It's just like this slow-mo kind of thing, and it just kind of takes a while for your body to find your way back. But I only really feel it when I'm bending over and standing back up again. But that's kind of, yeah, a lot of people like this kind of very minor vertigo. A lot of people have been having nausea too, I've been noticing. A lot of my clients, a lot of people I'm speaking to as well. So, I mean, I think we don't have a clue what it looks like right now.
Yeah. I imagine little kind of roots popping out of my 2 feet, growing into the ground, and that actually helps really quickly.
I agree with you. I think I'm so glad you brought that up because I'm like grounding is so key right now. Like really connecting to the earth energies. Like I've been listening to 7.83, which is like the earth frequency, the inner earth frequency, and it's helping a lot. Just ground in because there's so much coming in from our cosmic friends, and like the solar flares. And it's like when we ground into Gaia, when we ground into the earth frequency, it just like you said, it's roots. Like I imagine that multiple times a day of just like I wrap vines like around my feet and pull them into like the inner core of the earth, and I'm just like, just bind me to the earth, like because I'm just like woo flying off, so yeah, I actually feel very, and rooted vegetables have been really good too, just like really grounding foods. um yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think earthing right now, getting your feet on the grass, like just being on the earth in trees is really really helping to transmute some of this intensity.
Yes, ginger tea is my savior. My literally saves my belly.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, my digestion's been off for months though. Like, I don't know. I think that's probably the biggest symptom that I have that's ongoing. And my system just doesn't clear. Like it's still purging, and then it's just doesn't know what it wants, and things that I could eat before, it's just like nope. So it's like for me it's such a process of elimination right now where it's just like, oh, not that now. And like more and more things my body's like, yeah, you can't have that ever again. Like it's not even
Oh,
this in between, it's just like don't do that, and if I try to do it again, it's just like that much harder. So
yeah.
it's a weird process right now for me with my digestion because my body, I feel like I'm relearning my entire system. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's so interesting. But it's kind of, I imagine it's frustrating as well, because you're
Indeed.
kind of like, what am I eating?
Indeed. Yeah. I'm like, what can I eat? Like actually, a lot of animal products are just not in resonance. I feel like chicken, turkey are kind of like neutrals, but my
Mm,
body doesn't seek meats. Like
mm,
it's very much going into like I'll just eat like a shit ton of vegetables and I'll just be eating vegetables, or I'll fast for a lot of the day and I'll have a coffee or a tea, and then I'll just eat vegetables, and then I'll have like a main dinner, but again, more vegetables and fruits. So it's, yeah, like really natural, very like eating a lot lighter. And I don't know if this is going to continue or if it's just in the transition phases, but if I eat meat that is not in resonance, I know it instantly. Like my body is just like, don't do that anymore. But there's stuff I used to eat all the time growing up that like I loved, it's like burgers, I can't do that anymore. And I love the taste of them. Like, but
yeah.
it's just like a burgers, and like when you get burgers and then fries together, I'm like, I just don't eat that anymore. It's just my body is like, no, high frequency things, or and everything I put in my body I intention to, like, and I have been for probably about 12 years now. Everything that goes inside, I thank it and I ask it to raise itself to its highest frequency. All beings that were You know, I actually give to all beings at all levels of existence that need nourishment, like a whole process of everything I put in. And I'm like, even that does not allow me to put things into my body like I used to. So it really is like light foods. And sometimes I'll fast all day and I don't want anything, which like if I go out, but I find on those days I've been in the sun. So I'm like, maybe I'm getting like nutrients from the sun or nourished from the sun. And whereas before, if I spent all day in the sun, I'd feel tired, like my energy zapped, you know, like, but I feel energized now. Like maybe it's these solar codes coming in that are just nourishing me on different levels. But it's a process of just like really, really tapping into your body and listening.
Totally. Yes. And so tell us what is on the cards for this eclipse season.
Woo! This is gonna be an intense one. Only because, and it's fun, it's good too that I'm in such a high space. Like I'm not like where most people I'm speaking to, some of my clients are in this space. Like we are really in transformative energies right now. Like this is a deep time of like really deep, like unresolved aspects that are like resurfacing, like old patterns, old habits, and pretty much unprocessed material to disintegrate and release. And like we're really being asked to really sit with that and not like turn away from it. Like it's what I found is generally affecting like the lower chakras, like our root, like our survival, our scarcity, like what creates safety for us, our sacral and relationship stuff with like our creativity is there, and also deeply our solar plexus for like our personal power. And I think what's being asked right now, because we're in a portal of for the next 2 weeks pretty much, and like we're in a deep lunar like eclipse that's coming up on Sunday. So like we're in the hallway to that right now, and we're really being asked to pretty much integrate the things that we have always kind of pushed down. Like we're essentially in the underworld of ourselves, the underworld of our experience right now. And this is the place where we push all of our traumas, all of our feels, all the things that we don't want to deal with, really kind of is pushed to this place. And right now we're on this little train amplifying up towards, you know, like this peak point that's on Sunday. But right now it is all the areas where we kind of feel stuck, like what is undigested and we need to process, like, and these are like our deepest aspects, our demon parts, you know, like our shadow parts of self, like, and this is an opportunity for us to kind of face those parts of self that potentially, if we continue these habits and patterns and things that are coming up, like that are going to continue kind of like further painful experiences in our life. So it's kind of like the underworld is like the unmanifest. So it's also a place of opportunity. It's a place of gestation, you know, it's kind of like the womb space, the dark womb space, where like all potentiality and untapped potential resides. So I mean, these are the places where things become realized, where we can look at the stuff that is super uncomfortable and painful and darker aspects of self. But when you meet those parts of yourself, you kind of come into like a deeper communion with all the parts that you are. And that is what leads to wholeness, really. So right now we are in a deep shedding phase. Like we're in the next 2 weeks, we're kind of in a portal to the rebirth parts, which are going to be coming on the 21st, 22nd. We have another solar eclipse that's coming. It's a partial solar eclipse that's coming in on the 21st. And then we have our fall equinox that's coming in on the 22nd. So really the next 2 weeks it's a time to really look at the things that we fear. It's not a time for apathy, and there's a choice point, really. It's pretty much, are you going to stay in comfort, aka apathy, or are you going to look at the difficult parts, and are you going to grow, and are you going to expand? And the next 2 weeks are a time of like deep purification and really spiritual like responsibility. So we have to kind of sit with our belief systems and kind of ask ourselves, what are these built on? Like, what are these based in? You know, like has it grown with you, or is it kind of an outdated kind of part of self? Like, is it growing with who you are now and want to be and where you're moving into? And so currently we're in what I'm calling the contraction phase of birthing, because we have a whole time of new beginnings and stuff coming into the fall on the 21st, 22nd. But right now it's a time to release kind of what's binding us, what's keeping us captive within kind of like the frequencies of old. You know, like we're what I keep getting shown is like we're in the chrysalis, we're in this struggle phase. It's kind of like cracking through the egg, like cracking through the cocoon, like, and struggling to kind of get out. And it's uncomfortable, like it's painful, it's a deep place of discomfort, and we're in that contraction phase of the birthing process. We're in the canal, essentially. Like that's what we're in. We're in the hallway to growth. So it's a choice point. It really is a choice point of like how much are you going to look at, how deep are you going to go. And it's a time to purify, because like we're being shown everything right now, and it's really that question of observing the things in, you know, the collective of, you know, do I want to engage with that, do I not? And it's a time of, you know, removing fears of, the words that keep coming to me are like bitterness and like doubt and like criticism and hatred, like the deep rooted stuff, the things we hate, you know, judgment or jealousy and envy. Like really the base of this is like a spiritual sickness, you know? So it's kind of like, how do we want to build the new self? Like how can we find personal autonomy that, you know, is not just like a self-reflection of where we're at, but it's just like, where do we fit in the whole? What is our piece? You know, what are we contributing to the whole? And is this kind of where we want to stay? This is like embodying everything. I mean, this includes the government, politicians, like the world systems. Like we really need to be mindful of kind of like the information and where we're getting our information right. You know, it's like, are we feeling empowered by that? Or are we feeling disempowered by that? You know, like, and what keeps coming to me over and over is love them, for they know not what they do. And this has been a hard one. Yeah, because like this is a hard one for me, I'm not gonna lie, because like I would get really caught up in, you know, the dark aspects. I work in the dark fields. I work and I understand deeply all the layers of that. And like we've scratched the surface just minorly on this podcast with how deep it goes. And you know, I posted something on AI, and which we can see just ramping up more and more and more every day. And I have to really, it just keeps coming to me like, we have to find compassion for all, you know, like looking at the politicians, looking at all the dark ones or the agenda they have. And it's just like, we can get riled up about it. We can get angry about it. We can feel hatred towards these beings. I don't feel hatred really about anything, but we can give our energy away to that's what's wrong or it shouldn't be. But by doing that, they're kind of winning, you know, like we're giving our energy towards the things that, you know, anger us and bring out these feelings of discord, essentially. And it's a choice of what we want to give energy to. It's a choice of what we engage with. And so I really have, you know, been speaking with my clients deeply on this, and actually everyone in my life. I'm like, just be very mindful of where we're getting the information and what's the basis of that. Like, what are we really, really looking at? What's the intention behind this? And really the choice is like, do we feel empowered by this or do we feel disempowered? And that's the question that keeps coming up. My dragon self is just like, literally just like pointing it home, getting like really, really hitting hard on that, to be like, we have to embody unconditional love. So the ones that are of the dark, the ones that are manipulating and controlling, it's like, send them love, give them love, you know, don't engage with the negative energies that they are seeking to provoke within you. Imbue yourself with the sovereign power of your self-autonomy. You know, like nobody governs me but me. Nobody allows me to think anything other than what I allow myself to think. And right now the dragons are fierce. They're so present with everyone, and everyone has dragons around them right now because they are the masters of transmutation. They are the ones who alchemize and they burn away all the impurities. So I highly encourage everyone listening to call in their dragon guides to really, really engage with this process over the next 2 weeks, because they are masters of showing you really, and be ready. I know we've talked about this before, but be ready to engage with those parts of yourself, but lovingly engage with those parts of self, because we are all light and dark. There's nobody that just is of the light, and the more that we're able to look at the darker aspects of self, the more we're able to integrate them and transmute them into light. So we become more whole. Therefore, we can call in more fragmented soul elements, and that will bring in a wholeness as well, because we can transmute that into light as well. And when we can walk and be the anchor of that light, that's the lighthouse effect. That's what we put out to the world, and that's what transmutes the ultimate darkness. So yeah. I really would say ask for assistance from your dragon guides or whoever is in connection with you. But right now, for the next 2 weeks, we are in deep, the underworld energy. We are deeply in the eclipse. The lunar eclipse is all the unseen. It's everything that we don't want to look at, that we've pushed down, that is uncomfortable. And it's giving us the opportunity to really be able to love all parts of self to wholeness. Like, that's something that really, really keeps coming up on a lot of levels. So are you finding that too?
Totally. And one thing that's coming up for me is it's so easy to get caught up, like you said, when you're flicking through Instagram or X or any kind of social media, and you can get sucked in by that hate, that conflict, that political thing, and you feel yourself. You feel that anger. You can, if you're anyway susceptible to energy, you can actually feel that anger, and it makes you kind of get angry because of it. But I think it's important to not judge ourselves if we have gone down that road, and not to be so hard on ourselves, because like you said, we're both light and dark. So, if we do find ourselves getting so angry or so caught up in anything that needs to come to the surface, it's okay. And it's okay to not judge.
I'm so glad. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, because it's like, that's again, loving all parts of self, even loving the angry Sarah, the angry Lonna, and loving and having the compassion and not judgment to allow others the same grace and courtesy, because we're all, I have goosebumps talking about this, because I'm like, we're all in this at the same time. And it's a choice point. It's a choice where it's like, sure, we can have a response, we can look at someone and be like, whoa, they're really in it today. But really, it's like, just take a moment, take that pause, and really connect with yourself and ask for that clarity and that non-judgment to come through, because it's like, they're just responding and acting out to a hurt, to a trauma, to a pain, to something. And it's really important that we love all aspects of self, and they are all aspects of self, because we are all one. When we go back to the natural law of one and really embodying that, they are an extension of us. They are mirroring to us something. And so loving all parts of self, we're allowed to be angry. This is the thing where, like someone's response, it's just like, oh, it may be uncomfortable, but when we can learn that is telling you something, your response is telling you something. Why are you responding that way? If you can just take that beat, take that moment of pause and ask for clarity, it will probably dissipate pretty quickly, and allowing yourself the emotion of anger, of rage. It's a sacred aspect of self as well, because we are also all elements of the spectrum. So when we can love our anger as we would love our unconditional light, like, it all is just different aspects of the spectrum. And it eliminates the shaming, it eliminates the guilting, it eliminates all those other really dark energy fields that are just completely unnecessary, because we're just allowing and honoring where we're at in the process. And that's the biggest thing right now, is it is okay. It's okay to feel off. It's okay to feel angsty. It's okay to be angry about the injustices of the world. It's okay. Like, if you didn't feel something and you were just neutral all the time, which, we would not be living on the earth plane. We wouldn't be in 3D, we would be up in, the celestial realms or wherever, but that's not the experience we chose. That's not why we're here. And that's also why a lot of light workers or starseeds or indigo beings are here, to hold that anchor of allowance, whatever that looks like. It's an allowance, and eventually you will walk in grace. You will walk in your ability to transmute on the spot. Like, but the process to get there, it's not easy. Healing is not easy. It is not like, it is a messy game. Like, it is a messy game to be in this and allowing yourself to feel all the things, you know? And that's why we haven't dealt with the things that are coming up now. But there's a huge opportunity to self-love, to love others, and to allow the process to be what it is without attaching to having to have an answer, without attaching to needing to define it and figure it out and come from the mind. It's just like, be with your heart, be in yourself, or be with wherever it is in your body that you're releasing whatever that is, and just witness it with unconditional love, as if you were a parent to your inner child and you're just allowing it to just be what it is.
Yeah, I love that analogy. A parent to an inner child, and just witnessing it and being the observer and allowing it to be your teacher and your guide.
It's beautiful when you can do that. It's not easy. I'm not minimizing and be like, just do it. Like, it takes work to do that. But when we can soften our own judgment of self and we can just let ourselves be where we are with love, it reverberates out to others too, you know? And that's what we all need. We need to be witnessed. We need to be held. We need to be told it's okay to feel how you're feeling. Our emotions are just feedback. That's it. We don't need to judge them, because then we're just going deeper into the stuff we're going to have to heal later, which I don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, I know. I just can't help but I have this image in my mind of a little baby eating spaghetti bolognese, and it's all over their face, and mom is just letting it be. And it's okay to be messy and sit in your messiness.
I love that analogy. Yeah, it is. And I'm like, life, like when we're trying to control stuff, that's when everything goes off kilter. It's just like, life is messy, you know, and we chose a really potent time to reincarnate back here for the reason that it is harsh right now. That, like, things are harsh, things are intense, and every single being incarnated on Earth at this time is an evolved being because they're here at this time. And I think we need to remind ourselves that this isn't all there is. We have so many other fractal parts, so many other beings of self in other places and spaces and times. And it's just like, enjoy the experience, even the messiness, even the difficulty, because there are other aspects of you that can't feel the things that we're feeling, can't eat the food and enjoy, you know, walking their feet in the grass or getting in the water, you know, like there are other aspects that don't know how to feel that or can't feel that. So even the difficult aspects of life, like we will look back on this in a time and there will be many, many things that we remember in joy as opposed to things that were difficult.
Yeah. The affirmation that's coming to my mind now is, I release control and I go with the flow. And it's really powerful. I remember when I was working on my throat area and throat chakra, that's where control kind of resides. And I was trying to like release control and go with the flow because it's an ancestral thing. In my family line, it kind of goes down through my family. I think I said this before. And it kind of went complete opposite polar end of the scale, because I used to be like a tidy person, kind of tidy freak, and now sometimes I look around my house and my house is like an absolute bomb hit and I'm like, what happened to me? But I'm just allowing. There's no control. I don't care anymore.
It's beautiful because there's more important things, and also you live with someone that you can't control.
Yes.
So I feel like that also is an allowance and a surrender to allowing him to be how he is, you know, and nobody wants a nag. Like nobody wants a nag to be like, oh, pick that up, you know, like I don't want that. I certainly don't. I'd be like, my instant rebellious self would come out and probably just leave it there. Not really, maybe my old self, not so much anymore, but I would like, don't tell me what to do, you know, like it's just like, just let go of the control. And I have controlling family members too, that you know, it's a wounding, it's a trauma, it's a need to feel safe and secure and in charge of something. It's not easy to let go of that control and to just fully surrender and allow. It sounds simple, but it's actually not at all. It's a continued practice, because control is a perceived sense of safety, and that comes from survival, that comes from root. rooting into, there's so many things in my external experience I can't control. This I can, and I think when it comes back to just finding that allowance, because when we're just in the flow, even the things that are difficult don't seem as difficult when we're just like, okay, we can flow with that, and I know this too shall pass. We will move into something where it is more easeful and in grace,
Totally. I totally agree with you there. And regarding this eclipse season, and what do you recommend for people to do who are listening to make maximum benefit of it?
I recommend, like I always say this, and I think I'm just going to keep saying this for years until the end of time, but get in nature. Get in nature, because especially trees, like water is like, for me, a transmuter. Everybody's different, but trees actually are a higher frequency. Like if you're in a forest, it actually will transmute and protect you from the denser energies that are coming in the frequencies. So if you can get in the forests, take your shoes off if you can, walk barefoot, like that. Grounding is so key, especially in the next 2 weeks, because we are in the underworld right now, and we are in that birthing canal. The birthing canal is dark and it's tight and it's restrictive, and it's pretty much allowing us to learn how to be comfortable in the discomfort. And not like, it's a choice point. Not everybody will choose to engage with this, and they'll just kind of enter in their coping mechanisms. But this is a time when our patterns and habits are coming back up for us to look at, and we can engage with them if we want, or we can choose a different way. And it's not easy. I'm not in any way minimizing that, but if you can observe that coming up and know that this is kind of what's happening for the next 2 weeks, it's such a beautiful opportunity for us to disengage and to disintegrate those patternings so they're gone. And that sense of accomplishment in the 2 weeks, when we really are, and we'll do another podcast on this because I don't want to get too far ahead, but we're moving into rebirthing into a new timeline with the 21st, with the that's what solar eclipses are about. It's new beginnings. And moving into the fall equinox, we're moving into a whole different phase, which is the precursor to, the winter solstice, which is going to be, I don't know what it is, but it is going to be like something around the 21st is a game changer. And I've been feeling that for most of this year. So I feel like everything is preparatory to whatever is going to happen then, which again is preparatory to whatever is going to happen in 2026. But the one coming up, our solar eclipse on the 21st, is kind of establishing the next 6 months, what's coming up, what's coming into 2026. So this is really a potent time in the next 2 weeks, is to clear, purify, transmute, disintegrate. And we can only do that as deep as we're allowing ourselves to meet ourselves in the darkness. That's really what it comes to. So it's a choice. You can engage or disengage as much as you want, but I highly encourage everybody to lean into the discomfort, lean into the darkness, and allow those fears to rise, and call on your guidance system, call on your guides, call on your higher aspect, because they are holding you right now. There is so much beautiful support around us right now. And journaling, breath work, movement practices are really good, because just get it out of your body. Because if you just lay there and sit gestating in the discomfort, it's kind of just moving it around your body, get it out, let it purge, allow yourself, writing and burning is really beautiful right now. Like if you feel anger and you're in a moment, just scratch it all out, get it all out, and let the anger come out onto the paper and then burn it. And that's empowerment. There's so many practices right now where we can take control of those feelings where we have felt out of control in a past time. That's what we've pushed down. We are in the underworld. And also looking at it from the other side of the spectrum, the underworld is not just a place of trauma and fear. It is the place of the unmanifest. It's the infinite potential. It is the womb space. It is the gestation space. So if we clear and allow out, we can also pull up the potentials. We can also create our new way forward and establish a completely new way of embodying a new system, a new foundation to move forward into. And it's such a potent time to do this. Like, you can hear it in me. I'm like, just do it. Like, because, and I'm not trying to push anybody, but I'm kind of trying to push people because it is such a potent time. And it's not like you can't do this work later, but everything is coming up now because you're ready to clear it. And I think that's what we need to keep telling ourselves, is that it wouldn't be there if you weren't ready for it.
Yeah. Isn't there something so powerful about journaling? Every single word has like an energetic charge. And when you write those words onto paper, you're literally releasing the charge of energy that's been stuck in our bodies for so long.
Agreed. I journal every day in nature that I can. I am journaling. Like yesterday I wrote like 7 or 8 pages. I just was writing stuff out. Some was intentional, some was automatic writing where it just was coming out and I didn't know what was coming out, and I'm just like, oh, because what you can either burn it if it's just all negative stuff, which again, don't judge yourself, allow whatever's coming up to just be there, because there's no right or wrong feelings. And I think that's something we really, really need to learn as a society, is that a reaction is a reaction, and then we shame ourselves for the reaction. If you can just forgive yourself in the moment for maybe saying something you didn't mean, or reacting in a way where later you're like, I know better than that, I'm better than that, I shouldn't have done that. It's just like, in another time and space, we're already forgiven for that. So if we can engage in that already in the moment, we save ourselves so much time and trauma and pain that we will, have to deal with later. Because I know just the feeling alone that you feel remorse, or you have some, oh, I shouldn't have done that, that already in itself means that you've forgiven yourself. And the other person, if you reacted with somebody else, has forgiven you in another time and space, because it wasn't an intentional. If you have intention to hurt someone, then you need to sit with yourself on a deeper layer, But if it's just a response and a reaction, it's just like, that is a potent message to you, essentially, to be like, oh, there's some unhealed stuff here. And then the fact that you're just honoring yourself and forgiving yourself for that reaction, you're already healing it. And that's beautiful. It's that simple. It doesn't need to be any more than that. It's already healed.
Yeah. And it's like imagining where we'd like to be at this time next year. How would we have liked to have grown by working on our stuff now and allowing the shadow and releasing and letting go. Imagine how much different our lives will be if we did it.
Exactly. And I think we are going to do that. At this time next year, we're going to be like, oh my Lord, like,
I don't think we have a choice.
We don't have a choice. That's the thing. We don't have a choice, because everything is amplifying. The timelines are moving quicker. We are moving at a faster pace. So we are transmuting and moving through things a lot. We're jumping timelines and things are shifting really quickly. And as the frequency raises, I was just talking about this morning, as the frequency raises, things speed up, and we can feel that already in our personal lives, in the collective, and that means the positive can transmute faster. We can move into the light quicker. We don't have to hold things. We don't have to go over them and analyze them and all that. We can just honor where we're at and just let it go. And once we learn that process and we remove the shaming and the guilting and, oh, I wish, the remorse, it'll be an instant in the moment where it's like, oh, I reacted, I'm sorry about that, and you just move on. And it's like, it doesn't need to be more than that. Or in the moment you apologize to your partner or to your family member, or to, your coworker, or whatever that looked like. Generally that will disarm people. When you can take ownership and accountability for, I know better I could have responded differently in that moment. That's really all anybody would need, because they just want an acknowledgement of the pain or the hurt that was caused,
Yeah.
So when you can just do that instantly in the moment, think about like how things don't need to amplify to such a degree where there's more damage and more pain and more things happening, where we can just call ourselves out in the moment and be like, you know what, I'm not operating from my best space right now, and I apologize for that.
And those little steps literally change the trajectory of our lives. Yes. It's like
and what we call in Yes, exactly. In those moments, because it's like rather than going home and or getting amplifying, like say you're in an argument with somebody and you just keep back and forth, you're not hearing each other anymore, and it's just like when someone steps away, someone else's trauma is triggered because their feelings of abandonment come up, and then it's like it's amplifying and amplifying, and then it creates more trauma. If we can just step aside and be like, you know what, like take that pause. I think that's a big message coming in right now, is just take that pause for that clarity to come through. And when we can eliminate all this amplifying of energy and we can just call it out for what it is, it completely disarms the other person. Because really, when we're yelling or when we're arguing, we're just feeling unheard, and so is the other person. And when you can acknowledge, like, I want to hear you, I'm not feeling heard, but I also want to hear you, and you can come from a mutual level of respect and intention for resolution, it disarms everything and it takes away the charge to the point where you're just like, I care about you, I don't need to do that. And you see them from a non-judgmental place, you see them from unconditional love, and you're just reflecting back something about me anyways, when we look at it that way, when we come back to oneness. So yeah, it is jumping timelines. And when we get better at that, when we lean into the discomfort, it kind of eliminates all those in-between moments where we're causing more trauma and more to sift through later. And it's just like that can be transmuted and alchemized like in a moment.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. I love that the way you said that, pausing. Pausing is key. Giving ourselves that time to be still and just listen and feel and just pause.
Yeah, because when you take that pause, you change your reaction. And growing up, I'm like, I would react in a very defensive way and feel like I needed to fight and prove my point. But now with maturity and refinement, I'm still an intense being. But when I can take that moment, it's just like, and see them from an extension of myself, or see them in their shoes and from looking out of their eyes and how they're looking at me in that moment. It takes away all of the reactivity. It takes away the defensiveness. It's like, what am I trying to prove here? It's just like, I care about you, I care about not furthering your trauma, not hurting you. I care about you feeling heard just as much as I care about feeling heard. And again, it's okay if we disagree. It's about learning to be like, I still love you because you have a differing opinion than I do. It doesn't change the unconditional love I still feel for you. And I think once we get to that point as a species, it's just like it will eliminate so much of like the lower intensity of the 3D reality, really, because it's like that fight and conquering competition comparison mentality, which there's like that doesn't exist in like the higher frequency realms.
Definitely not. I'm imagining like a blanket of unconditional love, like just floating over the earth, going all around, just like covering the earth. That's all we can do, really.
Yeah, I actually just got the visual. I thought you were gonna say like, I just got a visual of you putting like a blanket of unconditional love over someone you're arguing with, and I'm like,
That's so lovely.
I would love that, but I feel like if they're not where you're at, they'll be like, what are you, like, they'll be like, get this shit off me.
Yeah, don't touch me.
Don't touch me, I'm not ready. Yeah, it's just funny, but I mean, that's the whole point of us being the example of the light, right? So.
Oh, thank you so much for all of your wonderful wisdom, Lonna.
Of course, thanks for having these beautiful talks. And I just encourage everybody to, again, have compassion for self, have compassion for others. And I'm going to be frank, it's going to be intense and uncomfortable the next couple weeks. So the more that you can learn to be comfortable in the discomfort, the better you're going to be equipped for what's coming forward. Because, I mean, it's a tool, right? It's a skill set.
And there's one thing that's coming to my mind. I'd love to link the last singing healing session you did on Instagram. I think it would really help people if they're kind of like little piggies in their shit and they need to just let it flow and just release it and let it go. I think that would be really healing. So I'll link that.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a transmutation one, so that's a perfect one. And I'm going to be doing more, but yeah, that is a good one because I mean, coming off the Sirius Gateway, it's like everything's just intensity and it's amplifying. So Yeah, I've had a lot of people actually reach out about that and been like, this is exactly what I needed. Like it disarms you and it brings you back to wholeness. So yeah, thanks, Sarah. That's a good idea.
Well, I'm looking forward to our next podcast and wish you a
Same.
lovely eclipse.
Thank you. You as well.